Welcome to the Utah Football Fans Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, go Utes. Go Utes! Welcome,
Hey,
everybody, to the Utah Football Fans Podcast. Man, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since we've all been together. I'm glad we're back.
long.
The off season is long. It is very long. We still aren't quite out of the off season yet, but we are so excited to be back talking some Utah football. I'm Bryn here with Gary and James. Please make sure you are subscribed and you're following along on all of our social media channels, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. And yeah, stuff is going to start ramping up here in the next few months. We really are only, 2 months
How
away?
many days is it?
How many days is it? Does anybody know? I actually don't.
70, 75?
Till kickoff? Yeah, it's like 74, 73 days, something like that. So it's coming fast.
That's going to come by real soon. We do want to thank our sponsor, Thomas Orthodontics. Please make sure you do look him up at thomasortho.com. We appreciate his support. I mean, summertime's a great time to get your braces, get all the stuff you need to do. So make sure you look him up at thomasortho.com. Thank you, Ben Scott. It is 73 days
Close,
until kickoff.
I was right.
It feels like a long time, but it's going to come by so quick. I mean, we're already into mid-June. Yeah.
Things are ramping up.
Can't wait. One thing we did want to mention, we do have another sponsor, BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals this season, which we have very much been enjoying those Stanley Cup Finals.
Go Oilers.
Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. And then when the game is over, head on over to BetOnline's online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of their over 150 slots games. Head to their website today to get in on the action, and you can use promo code BELIEVE, and that's BLEAV, for 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right. So,
Right on.
well, it is coming up. Where do you want to start, Gary? You want to go over our schedule? I feel like
I'll
I'm
just
so
say this, though, for those who have been with us for a while, we usually, during the season, we get together live. We're usually around the table, which, again, we'll plan to do that once the season kicks off or we get close to it for that interaction. But in the meantime, we'll be doing Zoom. So, well, let's go here. So I think most people probably know what our schedule is, but there it is. All begins August 29 and ends on the, the 23rd of November. With some times. Are there any other times that we don't know of that may not be on this? I think that's up to date.
Yeah.
I think it's up to date.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, we might know I can't see on the very bottom of your screen, the Central Florida game. Don't we know that one?
Yeah, that should be.
Maybe there we go. I took the little banner off. Yeah, that one's 6 p.m. So no, I don't think we know any of these other ones.
So interesting, the Baylor game is not a league game.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Forgot about that.
So that's not part of the league this year. So there's our 3 preseason games, and then we get into it. Let me just say this about as I was looking at the schedule, which I do find interesting, and in some regard, we should feel lucky in that we don't play Kansas or Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
2 excellent teams. I mean, right out of the gate, though, it's Oklahoma State.
To start conference play is what you're saying.
Start conference. I mean, I'm talking start conference. There's Oklahoma State. We get Arizona into town, which is good. We go to ASU. Let's see, is TCU here?
Mm-hmm.
No, we go.
Yeah, no, it's here. It's at home. TCU's at home.
That's big. That's good in Houston. So you can see them. Colorado, that's
at Colorado in November.
Colorado.
That's going to be interesting.
Iowa State, man.
At home, though, late November, Iowa State at home. So that's big. And then,
yeah, UCF. Last game of the season at their play. I mean, there's going to be some really cool storylines, I think, that'll come out of it. But that's the schedule. I'm looking forward to it. It's coming upon us. I'm excited about the new league and getting to know these other teams and play these other teams. But let me put this up. So Phil Steele, if you don't know who he is, he and his company are one of the, I think anyway, premier. I don't know. What are they? They project winners, losers, stats, analytics for college football, other sports, but they're really accurate. And they have a digital online version of all of their information, or you can buy their booklet. It goes through all the leagues, all the players, very in depth. It's really worthwhile to look at. So we're going to use a lot of Phil Steele tonight. Not saying that he is the only guy, obviously, but you can look at his past record and his reputation, and he's very accurate. So I just thought we would use some of his stuff to spur some conversation. But here he has his top 40, national top 40. I just broke down his top 15. And this is who he has preseason. Top 15 teams in the going into this season in the nation. And you can see there, Utah's at 8. He has Utah at 8. And you look at those teams that we're associated with, not bad.
Yeah, so he's got Georgia number 1, Ohio State 2, Oregon 3, which I very much agree with that. I think Oregon is going to be a powerhouse. Texas 4,
Yeah.
Penn State 5th. That one's kind of interesting to me. Penn State 5th. I don't know. And then Notre Dame 6th, Alabama 7th, Utah 8th. Utah above Michigan.
Yeah.
The reigning national champs. He has them at 9, and then Miami, Iowa, Clemson, Florida State, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma State.
So there's the other Big 12.
Yeah.
That's 15. But that is quite a group that he has us among. It's kind of cool. Miami's made a big jump there. He's got them with a huge jump. Now, the interesting thing about Miami is that Cam Ward, the Washington State QB, transferred to Miami. He's now their starting Q.
Is that right? Oh, my gosh. Interesting.
And he's been projected to have a great season. So that's pretty cool. So there's Phil Steele's top 15 of his 40. It's worth looking at the rest of the teams.
I'm going to say hi to Larry in the chat. Hi, Larry. Glad to have you. Larry. It's been a while.
Good to see you.
And Ben, I agree with you. He's saying that for our home opener, it's great to have 7 p.m. kickoff, which on a Thursday night, absolutely. Because sometimes on our home openers, it's been at what, like 5:30?
And 5,000 degrees.
Yeah, and people can't get there on time. So yes, 7 p.m. for that SUU game is much better, much easier.
So let me take that off the screen. I guess I should have done that a little bit earlier, but let's go here, James. So EA Sports, I'll just put that on real quick. EA Sports ranks all the major. This isn't all the teams, I don't think, is it? Maybe it's all the, at least Power 5. The EA Sports for their game. This is 2024, 2025 tier rankings. So how does that work, James, on these things?
Well, yeah, you gotta just sprung it on me. I don't remember. It's been a few weeks, but what it is, it's based off of the rankings within college football over the last, I think it was like 5 or 6 years. And so the teams that are in the top tier have the highest average rankings is essentially the way that it works. Like the most top 10 rankings over the last X amount of years. And then 2, 3, 4, based off of how well you've been doing over the last 10 seasons. And so when you look at this, you've got school Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, Utah,
Oklahoma, Georgia,
or Georgia, Oregon. So you got these LSU. So you got these teams that have over the last decade been consistently in the top 10 of college football. And these are the highest tiered, highest ranked, highest earning teams in college football is essentially what this is saying.
And this is their tiers of how they're ranking the amount of money each school is going to receive from their new EA Sports college football video game, correct?
Correct.
And so Utah, like the teams you just read, we're in amazing company in that top tier.
Again.
And then you look at the second one. Oh, who's that team on the second tier there, right there with the little SC? Who's that? They're in tier 2?
But when you look, yes, Bryn throwing shade. I appreciate that. But you also have to look, SC, Florida State, Texas, Wisconsin, Washington, Florida, Tennessee. I mean, some of the teams that are in tier 2 in comparison, UCLA, it's
impressive.
Amazing. It is impressive. And as Utah fans, I'll just say, like we've said this before, as Utah fans, we kind of take it for granted where the program is right now, right? Like we get caught up in, we haven't been to the playoff or whatever it might be. We haven't eclipsed that marker, gone over the summit, if you will. But look at where we are in the grand scheme of national college football. Arguably one of the top 10 programs right now. And it's pretty incredible. And I love where we're at. And with this new season coming, the new conference, I think that this team is ready to make a splash into that next year. And it's pretty dang exciting. So I for one will be buying NCAA 25 and spending way too much time and hours playing it.
Have us rigged pretty good, man.
So they're ranked pretty high. Utah's ranked pretty high. I think I saw their overall is like 92 or something like that. So it's going to be great. So join me. Anyone who wants to join me, we can play some online games together. It'll be a whole lot of fun.
Everyone's going to be sick that week at work. There's going to be a lot of calling in sick. I think, when is it? Mid-July, right?
Yeah, it's in the middle of July. So it's like a month from right now. It drops. So
sweet.
It's going to be awesome.
Here is, I found this interesting. So this is one, who is this? Sports Line. Championship odds for the Big 12. This is their betting line. And they have Utah and Kansas State at the top, the same. Then Kansas, like I said, we don't play either of those teams. Then Arizona, Texas Tech, which is a surprise to me, got to say. Iowa State, Oklahoma State. You can see the differences, the discrepancy between like Phil Steele's top 40 or top 15 and then these odds here with these guys. But then UCF, TCU, West Virginia, Colorado, Baylor, Cincinnati, Arizona State, and Houston. So there's the squad. There's the teams. Any thoughts on that? As far as like the betting line?
Well, having Kansas State be up there the same as Utah is shocking to me, actually.
Really?
I don't know. I would have thought Oklahoma State. I don't know. I don't know enough about all these teams. I mean, let's be honest. I don't
know when this came out though either, so I can't
That's
remember
true.
if that's been modified.
But I don't know. I would have thought Oklahoma State would have been higher up there.
Well, so let me put this up. See, it's interesting because this again is this is from Phil Steele. This is his his forecast for the Big 12 this year. This is how he thinks everyone's going to land at the end of the year. And he has Utah winning. Kansas State, Oklahoma State, he has at 2. Arizona, Iowa State at 4. West Virginia, Kansas, TCU, UCF, Baylor, and on and on. Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Colorado, ASU, Houston. Here's the thing, James and Bryn, you tell me, online, Twitter in particular, there's all these guys that want to argue and yell. And at each other. These kind of these fight groups and stuff, which I don't get. Makes no sense to me. I don't know why people want to be involved in that stuff. But I have noticed how people come at us, and there's been a lot of statements about how arrogant Utah is and all that kind of stuff. Just slamming us. Well, when you start looking at all this data and what the projections are from national organizations, national pundits, national commentary, Utah's up there.
Mhm.
And we're just acknowledging what others say and what we've experienced. I mean,
Mhm.
here's my take. Look, I'm excited to be in this new league, and there's questions from these teams about us because they don't really know us, at least the ones that haven't been in the Pac-12 with us. But we don't really know them either and their teams. We haven't played them. And so it's new to everybody. And I'm not one of these guys that say, oh yeah, we're going to go in and just blow out the league and stomp on everybody. No, it can go who knows what's going to happen. All I'm saying though is we know Utah football. We've been living it. We know what kind of team they typically have and who we have coming back. And then you hear what other experts all over the place say about Utah. Yeah, I'm confident that we should have a good season.
I mean, in reality, and by the way, I know our YouTube comments have been having trouble. I think I just fixed it, so hopefully that's going to help. But in reality, it's a couple losers on Twitter that are putting it out there, and they just want to keep poking the bear, talking about that Utah's going to go undefeated. We're going to come in here and dominate everything. I mean, we've said it a million times. The three of us are not that. We're not going to come in and, oh, good. I think our comments are working now.
Good, perfect.
I feel confident about the season, but I'm not going to be the one. I'm not going to come in and guarantee anything. That's just dumb. And so, yes, people are doing that on Twitter. There are a few that seem to be very loud online that are kind of giving Utah that reputation. We're not that. I'm not that. I'm not guaranteeing anything.
I'll say this. I'm with you, Bryn. Like, I'm not going to come in here and guarantee anything, but I will say, we watch a whole lot of college football. The three of us watch way too much college football.
That's
based off of what I have watched of Utah, the Pac-12, the Big 10, the Big 12, everything based off of the last several seasons and what I know about who is coming back and who Utah football should be, I feel very confident going into the Big 12. Is it going to be a cakewalk? Are they going to walk through, be undefeated? No, I would never say that. I think there's some very tough games on here. The first conference game we're ever going to play is on the road to Oklahoma State. I'm in no way going to say Utah is just going to roll into Oklahoma State and win it. But I feel very confident with the team that we have. And I think that Utah fans should be confident. Yeah, you're right. There's some arrogant people. Every fan base has arrogant people. Okay. Don't come out here and Utah fans are so arrogant. I don't care what team you're a fan of. Your fan base has idiot arrogance on Twitter. It doesn't matter who you are. So get over that. Yeah, Utah is going to be good, and Utah is going to come into this conference and have a shot at winning the title. That's just the reality. They've got a very good, very well-run program. So there's also a lot of question marks coming into this season too for a lot of other teams. I see Arizona as number 4 on this list. I have a lot of question marks about Arizona. They beat us good last year at home. Okay, they were a very good team last year. I have no idea how good Arizona is going to be this year. They lost their head coach. They lost a bunch of dudes. Yeah, their starting quarterback's coming back, but I have no idea how good they're going to be. Could Kansas finish 7th? Could Kansas finish 1st? Yes. That's the fun about it. That's why we play it. That's why I'm so excited about it. But when you look at people like Phil Steele, who has no dog in the fight other than he looks at it objectively, he's looking at Utah and going, these guys have a great shot at winning this conference. And so you got to look at those sorts of things. And those things are popping up all over the place. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm confident in it. But at the same time, hey, If Utah finishes 3rd or 4th, would I be shocked? No, not at all. If they finish 1st, would I be shocked? No. So it'll be a good season. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see these new teams and have some new rivalries develop out of it.
I'll say this, just by some snarky comments I saw recently. I know there's some Big 12 fans who think that Utah is like the team that was on the field last year. And now, if they actually believe that was typical Utah football, they do have a rude awakening coming. I'm just saying.
Then they don't know ball. If that's what they believe, they don't know ball.
Exactly. Thanks, Bryn, for doing that. I'm just saying is that last year was an anomaly. It was weird. I don't think people truly understand what happened to the Utah football team last year. When you're playing the 5th string QB, you had 1 running back left. All our linebacker core, except maybe 1 or 2 out. Secondary, interior linemen. I mean, it was unbelievable. And so, yeah, I think Big 12, some Big 12 people just go, yeah, we watched Utah last year. They're not that great. Well, that's fine. But I think they're going to see a whole different squad come rolling out this year if all stays good.
But that's where it bothers me too, the Utah fans that are getting on there and just, we're going to roll over everybody. We're going to come in there, dominate. It's like, you lived through last season. You remember what can happen in the blink of an eye. So anything can happen. Like you said, James, it can. And that's why we play. That's why it's so fun. That's one of the reasons we love the game and we love watching it, because you have no idea what's going to happen. So
again, we'll go from Phil Steele. This is very interesting. Let me add this up on the screen. Hopefully you can see it. So this is what Phil Steele, his group, call the unit rankings. And what he means by unit is quarterback, running back, receivers, O-line, D-line, linebackers, defensive backs, special teams. Our logo's over top of the last one, and that's head coach or coaching head, so head coach. Now, I know there's a lot of info there, but this is how he ranks every one of those position groups on every team. And you'll notice, if you look at it carefully, that Utah is no worse than number 4 in any position group, according to his stats. You compare that with anybody else. That's impressive for the Big 12. And the head coach he has number 1 is Witt. You can't see it because of our logo on our screen, but so Witt's at number 1. And you look at the interior. I mean, you look at the line.
It's the lines, Gary. It's the lines.
Defensive line number 1 in the league is what he has. Our O-line number 4 in the league. Even our linebacker core at 3. And we've had already an injury there. Damani, unfortunately. Isn't that right? I think that's right.
Yeah, he got hurt in fall or in spring ball.
But look at our receiver core of the 16 teams in the league, 3rd. Running back, I still think that is going to manifest higher than even what people think it's going to be when it's all said and done. Yeah, all I'm saying is you put all of those together. If that is in fact, and I think it is, how our team is this year, we are going to be, honestly, the ability to win every game that we play. If all those, everything is in sync.
Well, it all stems from the O-line and the D-line. And when you've got a top 4, and I think our O-line is going to be improved over last year as well. So let's say top 4 O-line. I think it's right. The number 1 D-line in the conference, you're going to be in every single game just from those 2 aspects. And then you include, the quarterback position. This is arguably going to be the best wide receiver core we've ever had. And then, the number 1 coaching staff, the head coach in all the conference. That's man, that Phil Steele, he really is Utah arrogance right there, huh? Boy, oh boy.
So when you read that, you have to give props if you trust in this stuff, but you can go to other sites and listen to other pundits, and they are singing the praises of Utah.
Well, and so his list is interesting. He's got Colorado as number 1 in QB with Shedeur, but also number 1 in the receiving core. And I mean,
Travis Hunter.
I'm trying to remember all their receivers that they had.
Yeah,
I mean,
Travis Hunter probably could be the best receiver in the country. I'll give him
Right.
props. And
But who else
Thorne
who else do they have besides Hunter as their receiver? I can't remember.
I don't remember. They've got so many guys coming and
Thorne
going.
was one of them.
Okay.
But then the bigger thing on that, if you were talking specific Colorado, yeah, I mean, you've got Sanders at quarterback, but the bigger thing that stands out to me on that is the 16th ranked offensive line. And we saw that last year.
Right.
I mean, if you can't stay upright, then you're going to have challenges. And so I think that's going to be, again, the biggest question mark for them. And
running back 15?
No, that's crazy to me. I don't know. This is very interesting. You look at all the different teams. I mean, Oklahoma State, right? The 13th ranked quarterback, but the number 1 running back and offensive line. That's really interesting.
And linebackers. Oklahoma State has linebackers.
It's like, I think that they're going to be, and then look, their coaching staff falls right in at number 2. And that makes a lot of sense to me too. Cause it's, they've had a lot of stability like Utah with their coaching staff. And so this is a really interesting list to really kind of break into. Arizona State, could be another tough year for you guys.
You look at UCF. Now, this is a long ways out. This is the end of November. So tons of stuff's going to change for everybody. However, so the last game of the season, if you look across their line, they're almost as good as anybody.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
League. When they got their Q is good. Running back, receivers, D-line, their linebacker, and that's the last game of the season. Dude, that could,
on the road.
That could be a huge game.
But see, where this is interesting, so if we go back where we were talking about the betting odds, and they had Kansas State at the same level as Utah, but look at Kansas State. I mean, they're ranked 8th quarter, 13th in wide receiving core, 11th in O-line, 7th in D-line, 5th in linebacker, 1st in defensive back. So that's interesting. So they have 1st there, and then 4th, and then 5th in coaching staff. So again, when I say I'm surprised about Kansas State, even seeing those, that still does surprise me that they would be, that has the equal odds according to that one site. I get that it's just one site, but I don't know.
Well, and here's the thing.
I think Oklahoma State would be up there higher, but I don't know.
Just full transparency, I don't know this conference like I did the Pac-12. Right? Like, we spent 12 years in the Pac-12, so I knew the teams and knew who was going to be good and who was. I don't know this conference as well. I mean, I watched it kind of more in a casual way. And then I'd see games. I think over the next 2-3 years, obviously, we're going to get to know this conference a whole lot better. But when I look at things like that, it really is quite interesting to me who has, great defensive back play and who has great quarterback play. It's going to be fun to find out. I'm with you, Mark. Watching Oklahoma State last year, they've got an NFL running back right there. And he could have gone to the NFL and probably been a 1st-round pick, but he stuck it out. He's going to come back. So I think that's going to be a really fun game. It's on the road. That one makes me nervous. Going to be really honest. We got a lot to happen between now and then. So
I think, who's this? Razor
Ramon.
But I do think he's correct. So we played Baylor, and you remember that game where we played them on the sun last year.
The surface of the sun. I hated that game so much.
And just all the situation that we were in. That wasn't Utah. It's just, so that game will indicate a lot. And then right out of the gate, they've been saying Oklahoma State. It's going to show us where we are as of right now. And I think that's what's exciting about it. I'm with you, James. I don't know all these teams like I knew the Pac-12. I mean, that because that was in our direct interest. I've always had respect for a lot of teams in the Big 12, so it'll be fun to get to play them and to see how we match up. I do know this though, Utah, and I don't know what teams are running teams, passing teams, who like to be physical and who do not. I will say this, however, that I doubt that we're not going to see passing offenses like we saw in the Pac-12, particularly recently, to the level like last year. And Utah has always, most of the time, not always, every single time, but when we play hard-nosed football teams, running teams, smash-mouth teams, we actually do quite well against most of those teams. So it's going to be interesting to see styles against styles, which I'm not really familiar with in this league yet.
It's a whole new ball game.
Excited. It'll be fun. I'm excited.
So this came out. Who's that from?
Greg McElroy.
Yep.
Okay. He put out his top 10 QBs nationally.
Yeah, this is across the country. This is not just
national.
Yeah.
And
man.
So you got Beck at Georgia. That makes sense to me. Ewers, Texas, absolutely. Shadur Sanders at 3. Dylan Gabriel, who's at Oregon now. Wasn't he Oklahoma last year? Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah.
So first year there. Jalen Milroe. I don't know about that, to be honest with you. And he has Cam Rising at 6. Cam Ward, Washington State guy, now at Miami. Fafita, Arizona. Dart, Ole Miss. And then there we got Jalen Daniels. I believe if there's any Kansas people, he was hurt last year. He's talented. And he's back.
Man, those are some dudes on that list, though, man.
Look at that list. And are you good with it? Any disagreements? I'll just throw mine out. Hey, man, Cam Rising at 6. When I saw that, I could have cared less what they said about Shadur Sanders. When he put Cam Rising in there at 6, I had all respect for it because I think he gets it.
I'm that Cam's at 6. That's a heck of a list. I mean, those are some dudes on there. I'm really surprised that he has Cam above Fafita, quite frankly. Yeah. The season that Fafita had last year and the expectation he has coming into this year, it surprises me. I think that he could come out and have a great year, but we've seen what Cam can do. I mean, he's the dude. He is what gets this Utah team going, and all signs point to him going to be 100%. And you've got to look back 2 to 3 years back when Utah was averaging like 38 points a game and was one of the top offenses in all of college football. That's when Cam was healthy, and that's kind of the Cam we're expecting to have back. So having him come back, it's huge. And this is a pretty big list. I love it.
It's shocking to
I'm with Gordon.
No, you wouldn't.
I'm with Gordon, man.
Shador, no. But what I'm saying is, I feel like the fact that Cam didn't play all last year and he's still showing up on these lists, and not only just showing up on these lists, he's showing up high on a lot of these lists.
Yeah.
And it is kind of shocking to me because Fafita had an awesome season last year. Obviously, Shador had a great season last year. Now, with him, it's just, can he not get sacked? I mean, he had almost the record number of sacks in a season last year.
Gotta stay upright.
He's already been hurt. So
he held on to the ball a ton.
He held on to it too long. I don't know. I mean, he has the potential to be absolutely fantastic. It's just a matter of if he can stay healthy. So it is kind of wild to me that Cam keeps showing up without having played a whole year. But it shows the respect that people have for him, and they saw the talent that he has. And let's just hope he's 100%. Like you said, James, everything we've heard says that he's looking good. Fingers crossed. I want to see him play another year like we saw a couple of years ago.
You know, Amy just pointed something out.
Hit this, man. Look at this.
Here we go. 4 Big 12 quarterbacks. This is the top out of the top 10. 4 Big 12 quarterbacks. That's awesome. 4 SEC, 1 Big 10, 1 ACC. That's
crazy.
That is crazy. That's nuts. Look at that.
Big 12 and SEC, we're just equal.
SEC's got 2 because they got Ole Miss and Alabama, right? And Georgia.
Well, because Texas now.
Texas.
That's
there. It. So they're 4. SEC's got the 4. And then Oregon's got the 1 for the big. That's crazy. Oregon's got the 1 for the Big Ten. And then the ACC, who knows what's going to happen to the ACC. That's a dumpster fire if I've ever seen one. And that's
so we play Arizona. They come to our place, which is going to be great. It's going to be rocking, man. There's going to be
revenge.
Revenge. Remember the last play of the game or whatever that garbage was?
Revenge is coming.
Last year?
Yeah.
Now, they've lost their head coach. They've lost a ton of players. They kept Fafita and they kept what's his name? Their wide receiver.
Wide receiver. I can't remember his name right now. They both stayed.
McMillan? Does that sound right? Anybody?
I can't remember. He was good though.
Dude.
He's really good.
They're not the same team.
They're not the same team.
The same team as Jed Fisher, whatever his dang name is. It was.
He's at Washington. Washington now. He's
going to have some interesting times, I think. He's a good coach, but again, we weren't at full strength. They laid it on us particularly early. The first quarter they were killing us or something.
It was so ugly.
That was such an awful game. Let's not even.
Arizona of last year that were on the rise. So I'm just happy they're coming to Rice Eccles. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
I did see and I can't remember. I'd have to look it up now, but they ranked not only Utah's D line was ranked number 1. It might have been Phil Steele again, but it may not have been. The rushing D line. In other words, not just the line itself, but how they ranked the line as a rushing, the quarterback defensive line. And Utah is like right up at the top. So that's going to be a factor not only in the running game, but one of the top rushing teams at the quarterback. It's going to be interesting for those passing teams.
That's always Utah, though. Utah always has the ability to stop the run and get pressure on the quarterback. Like that's their MO. Guys, it's kind of crazy when you just are constantly just flipping guys into the NFL. And you look at who we lost this last year, a guy like Ellis, you go, how can we replace that? And then this next year, other guys are going to step up and take those roles. And that's just Utah. It literally is the next man up mentality. And we're at that point now where Utah is they're in the reload phase of college football. They don't necessarily have to rebuild. It's just, all right, that guy went to the NFL, next guy up, you're expected to fill right in that role and maybe take the next step. And it's exciting.
Well, and we don't follow recruiting a ton. It's a lot. I'll be honest, that's not my forte. I can't keep up with all of it, but we just signed some very high stakes players.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
The one kid who was being recruited by everybody, USC, Washington, Colorado, everybody, and he's coming to Utah. Christian Thatcher, I think is his last name. Yeah. So like you said, James, the recruiting has not taken a step back at all. It just seems like it keeps getting even better and better every year. So
now just keep out that's a kid that he won't be here this year. He's got one more year in high school. And then, and Gary kind of mentioned this earlier. It's tough because these kids nowadays, there's so much mobility and it's fluid constantly. Guys that are they commit and then they decommit and then they move elsewhere. So you never really know, but yeah, we're landing guys where it used to be. I saw this tweet today it used to be on the table. It was a Utah hat next to Wyoming and San Diego State, and Colorado State. Yeah. Okay. Texas, Mike. And now the hats are Georgia, Oregon, USC, and Texas, and Utah's winning those guys. Texas Mike, good to see you, buddy.
It's so good to see you, Texas Mike. And
how'd you like that troll job that he pulled on USC? Puts the USC hat on, throws it, puts the Utah hat on. I loved it. It was beautiful.
It was the best.
So yeah, the recruiting game is probably the strongest it's ever been, and it's great. It's been fun. But yeah, if you're looking for in-depth recruit breakdown, this is not the right podcast for you. I'll just be really honest.
Right now, I mean, I'm interested. I know who they are, but other stuff to talk about in the limited time we've got. Let's put this up. This is going to raise some interesting. I'm curious as to what you guys think. So this is deficient because Chip Kelly's not on here, and I swear Chip Kelly got $2 million for being the OC at Ohio State. So he probably should be number one. But this gives.
Is that right? Is that how much he got? I'm gonna
Yeah,
look
I
that
heard
up.
it was like $2 million. Someone in the chat may know for sure. I thought he got like, I do. But this is the top highest paid college football offensive coordinators. We got Ludwig here at number 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chip Kelly got $2 million, and then it goes up to 2.1, 2.2, so it moves up. It's a sliding scale.
So anyway, Ludwig's 3. Let's say 3.
Right.
Chat, you guys, initial thoughts on that?
If it's the offense, if it's the Utah offense that we knew not this last season, you got to throw that away. The last 2 seasons with a healthy Cam, yeah, it's worth it. Those offenses were beautiful. They were humming. Those were the seasons we won back-to-back Pac-12 championships, right? Don't forget that Notre Dame came after Ludwig, right? They tried to steal him and take him away. Last year it was ugly, but there were so many factors. But when he is the offensive coordinator and he has his guys in his offense, Utah is one of the top, most efficient offenses in college football. It's just with Cam at the helm, they can do great things. And so, yeah, if they win, he's worth every freaking dime of that money. I'll tell you that much. And it does surprise me though. There's some guys on this list that it kind of surprises me, but
it surprises me.
Him. Pay the man.
I'll be very honest. When I saw this list, I was shocked.
I was surprised. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, just to know that he's top 3, we'll say, because Chip Kelly is either in the 1 or 2 spot, but to have Andy Ludwig right there getting paid the same as Chip Kelly or close to it, that does really shock me, because I still don't think of Utah's offense as the same level as what Chip Kelly does, say at UCLA, or what he's going to do now. Like, I just still don't do it. I know what you're saying, James, from 2 years ago, our offense was way better than what we've had in the past, but I still don't have that mentality of Utah having a high-powered offense. I hope that we do this year. I hope that changes with all the receivers that we have coming in this year. It's just that's not in my brain yet.
And if you watch when I put this on social media sites, it was really interesting to read the comments. Maybe you guys did. There was some heavy criticisms by a number of people just slamming Ludwig. And my thought was this, is when you're slamming Ludwig, you are slamming Coach Witt and the way he coaches. Because Utah, think about it, Utah ball is complementary ball. There's this working together of the offense and the defense. It doesn't rely on just one or the other when we're humming, but they complement each other. It's just not like we got to get 500 yards and 45 touchdowns every game to win. It doesn't work that way. We run clock. Utah is typically a balanced team between passing and running. We control the clock. The defense has always been stellar, top in the nation. And so you use both of your assets offensively and defensively, and we win a lot of games. I wrote down, and this goes to what James said. Well, let me say this first of all. So I throw away last year because there's not an offensive coordinator in the country that could have done better than what we did with what happened to us. It's a throwaway season. That's not fair. The year before that, we were in the Rose Bowl, won the Pac-12 championship. Ludwig was the OC. The year before that, we won the Pac-12 championship. Ludwig was the OC. Before that was COVID. I throw that year away because that wasn't even, that was a garbage year. It was nothing. The year before that, we were in the Pac-12 championship game and lost to Oregon. And the year before that, We were in the Pac-12 championship game. We lost to Washington. I think that's right. All with Ludwig. So you got to say, dang, he must be really bad to have all that success. But here's what James was saying. In 2022, we averaged 39 points a game offense, 467 yards of total offense. And that between running and passing was pretty balanced. In 2021, we averaged 36 points a game, 431 yards, again, the balanced offense. In 2019, 429 a game, and almost 400 in 2018. That's Ludwig offense. It's a balanced offense.
Well, how often is it that we're going into the fourth quarter and Utah has a 2-score lead and it just becomes clock management ball, right? Like it just becomes Whittingham clock management ball. And they take the air out of the ball and it just becomes, we're going to run the ball. It kind of becomes boring because Whittingham doesn't care about that stuff. He's in it to win. He's in it to win the games. So he doesn't care if we put up 48 points a game. He doesn't care if we put up 21 points as long as we just win the game. And so that's the other side of it. Is it's like you said, Gary, that's how Whittingham runs the game. He'll look at the clock and go, based off the defense that I have, based off the amount of time left, they don't have time to do what they need to do if we just take the air out of the ball. Yeah, we might punt the ball the last 3 possessions and make them go 98 yards 3 times in a row because they're not going to be able to do it. And so that's where it can get a little bit ugly sometimes. But that's the way that they play the game.
But if we end up scoring 39 points a game with a typical Utah defense, we're going to win almost all those games. That's where I think
to win. Yeah.
I would not be surprised if we averaged 38, 39 points a game. When you consider the O-line we got, you got Cam Rising. Our backfield is going to be good. And we got dudes that can catch the ball and run. And then we got Dorian Singer.
I'm so excited to watch that guy play in a Utah uniform.
He's excellent. You got Money Parks. We got Keithy at tight end. We got King at tight end. You got the dude from UCLA at tight end.
Ryan.
I'm just saying, we have a chance to put up points again. And if we have that threat and we're actually putting up points with the solid defense that we have, dude, I'm excited about it. But and I've said this before. I've been on record that I watch some of these games and I go, dang, these dudes are throwing the ball all over the place, scoring 45 points. Yeah, there's no doubt I am envious of some of those teams and some of those games. But then Utah and the success we're having, it's a different style of ball. So if you're gonna condemn Ludwig, you're actually condemning Whittingham because he's the guy over it all, and this is how he wants to play. But I'll also say this: if we can get 39 points a game with a defense I expect us to have, we're going to be a tough team to beat. Thoughts on that? Anyone? Well, I'm going to show this one. No, that's not the one. Let's go here.
Oh.
Gordon, I'm with you, man. You're lucky.
That would be quite a matchup this year, right? I mean, I would love a rematch
this year. Not like the stuff we had to.
I know last year.
Game.
Maybe sometime in the future we'll get to play Oregon again. It sucks that it's ending on what a horrible game that was last year, but I think Oregon's going to do fantastic things this year. I don't know, Gary. You're so funny because you're all talk, and then we'll be sitting there watching a game, and you're losing your mind because we're not passing the ball, we're not going for it, we're not scoring enough points. James, you know what I'm talking about.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Okay. You can't bring last year into this.
You can't bring up fat
year.
sprint.
How many times have I watched football with you? I know.
Oh yeah, I get it. I wasn't saying that though in the when we were scoring 39 and 38 a game.
I'm sure you were.
He was.
Oh man. I know. Is it August yet? Is it the end of August?
I know. I need it.
Oh, this is what I was going to put up. Okay.
James Thomas, that's a insult to him. How dare you say that he's turning
That
into
is an
coach?
insult. That's
Coach, who's that?
coach that's behind us.
Your friend at
Oh,
the game.
oh, that's right, coach. No, I'm not that dude. Hold that block. Hold that block. That guy.
Yeah, yeah, coach. That's him.
Top 15 projected pass offenses. We get Colorado. We get Arizona. We get TCU. According to that. Hey, Lonnie, nice job, man. I was going to talk about
Lonnie? Wow. Thank you for that.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, they put the Big 12 logo on the field now, so that's official.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so that's up there. And then the now that baseball season's over, I think that all the Pac-12 stuff is officially dead. So it's all Big 12. I saw the basketball team, they've got Big 12 logos on their uniforms now. Like it's weird. It's weird, but
Dang, man.
that's all been shifted over. Everything is Big 12.
Well, and I think it was softball, James, was kind of like the last thing in Pac-12. And I know Pac-12 network is after this month, like after the end of June, is just disappearing into the universe. Like it's strange stuff. But yeah, everything's starting to get switched over. All of the merchandising, everything. It's Big 12 moving forward.
Yep.
Hey, did Cam Rising cut his hair off?
No.
Or not?
No.
What did he do? I saw that footage of him in his camp.
It's in a
Did
bun.
he have it pulled back or was it cut?
Pulled back.
It was in a ponytail. Crisis averted, everyone. He did not cut his hair.
Cam, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I hit the wrong one.
Beautiful hair.
Let's go with this good question. Amy Wan Kenobi. Naming rights. So there's actually two things going on. Naming rights and whatever they call it, shared equity or something like that. That's two different things. An infusion of big money, but they own like 15% of the league or something versus naming rights. So it's like the Delta Center.
Yeah.
It's the Delta Center. They get money. It's like the All-State Big 12 or whatever. They would pay to have their name. I don't care. I think it's cool. Bring on the money. The equity thing, I got some questions about it. Investment in the league. I don't Oscar Mayer, Big 12. Now, it could be some really stupid.
It's going to be stupid.
What do you think?
It's of course some corporation's going to come in and it's going to be the Dr. Pepper Big 12 conference. Like that's just, and they're going to pay a whole lot of money for that, right? And as long as the schools benefit from it, which they will to a small portion, and then all the higher ups will line their pockets with more of it. As long as the schools benefit a little bit, I'm fine with it. But yeah, it's going to be something dumb. Gordon, you're right. It's going to be the Oscar Mayer Big 12 conference. Like that's the direction. Look at every single sports league. That's the direction every single league takes. The NBA, they now have logos on the jerseys. If you're watching, it's going to happen.
That's what's going to come next. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Look at the NHL, right? They instead of the team on the side of your helmet, it's some stupid sponsorship on the side.
Yeah, I don't like it.
That's the direction it's going to go. The more corporate sponsors that are going to come in, the more money you're going to have. Where can we put things? Okay, we're Allstate. We're going to pay you guys $8 billion to put our logo on your jerseys. The conference isn't going to say no to that. It's going to happen. So just get ready for it because it's going to go that direction.
That's one of the things I hate so much about soccer is the jerseys. You can't even see the team logo. The team logo is tiny. It's like the size of your drum and feather, James, on your shirt. And then it's the big corporation logo right in the center. And so that could happen with selling the conference name, All-State Big 12. They might say, okay, well, that logo has to be super big on your jersey. I don't know. I think it's going to open the door. Yeah, but
if they end up, but what James is talking about beyond that is you can advertise a team. They'll pay money to the team, and the team will put their logo on the uniform. That's what they do in the NHL and some other. I think some of the other lesser
NBA has it. They've got it on their jerseys.
I would go this far is if they limit it like they do in the NHL. They can only put on their helmet. I think
For now.
for one thing. If it went that far, I could probably stomach it. But if it starts putting them on all over the shoulders and the back, I mean, I think it becomes a joke.
Yeah, if it goes European hockey where it's everywhere from the socks to the helmet, then it's too much. But you get these corporations that are willing to spend a ton of money, and then there's no putting the genie back in the bottle, right? Yeah, you know what, Texas, we're going to need a lot of sponsors.
Texas Mike,
12, send us some cash. We'll name it.
Will you start the GoFundMe, or hey, everyone just hit that super thanks, the super chat button. We'll sponsor the Big 12.
Empty out your savings
Lonnie,
account, and
thank you again. You're putting us on our way.
Man.
We're gonna
even
be
your
sponsors.
logo, man. I'll even over Lonnie. Thanks, man.
Yeah, John, it's NASCAR. We're headed towards NASCAR where it is. And I don't like it, but there's no going back. Once it's happened, they don't go backwards on that money. They just don't. So I hope it doesn't get to that point. I hope I'm wrong. And that there's never corporation logos on my team's helmet or jerseys or whatever, but it's just there's too much money to be had in order to do it. And it's just I feel like it's going to happen at some point. And all it takes is one team to do it. All it takes is LSU or Oregon or whoever it is to put a logo, and then every other team will follow suit. It'll happen.
Right now. There's rules against it right now.
Yeah, but money changes rules overnight.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, Florida, I'll have to look at that. Hey, is the commissioner of the Big 12, what's his name? Normark?
Your Mark.
Texas Mike. Right on.
Texas Mike.
We just need about 200,000 more of those so we can sponsor the Big 12.
We are well on our way.
So it's Normark. Is that right?
Your Mark.
Gosh.
Your Mark.
Okay. I'll say this. I like him. I like the guy. What I read about him and hear about him, I think he's the guy for the times. And here's the reason. He has built up billion-dollar businesses. And all we hear about is the SEC and the Big 10. And right now they're the big boys. They got all the money, they got all the cash, and they're dictating a lot of things. And we all hear the rumblings that they may want to break off and be their own league. I think our commissioner is being proactive. I think by these kinds of things he's looking at or really thinking outside the box, I think he's looking out for the future of this league, of other stuff that could happen. Man, I think he's going to be great. I think he is, unlike the dudes in the big Pac-12 that were asleep the whole time and let it collapse. This guy, I think he's going to make waves with the Big 12 and make it very viable for the future. I don't know. That's my thoughts on the guy. I'm excited about him.
I hope so, because you're right. The last commissioner I felt really positive about, and there was all of his resume said great things. Turns out he was asleep at the wheel, and by the time he woke up, the Big 12 had come in and gutted the entire conference. And so I hope you're right, because and Whittingham has said this. This is realignment is far from over, and next offseason could be completely different. And so I hope that you're right, Gary. I hope that he's paying attention and that he's fighting for the best interest in the conference and the 16 teams that are in this conference, and that he knows what he's doing, because those other two conferences, they are being very aggressive. So let's hope.
All right. Anything from the chat before we go?
Well, as we wrap up, I do want to say in the chat and leave a comment, what Big 12 podcast should we be reaching out to do some collaborations with over the next couple of months? Because again, we just don't know a lot about these new teams that were joining the conference, and they probably don't know a lot about Utah. So we would love to do some collabs, do some cross promotion, and just talk about these other teams. So if you have any good ones, any suggestions, leave them here in the chat because we want to reach out to them and start doing some of those. But yeah, go Utes. It's so fun to be talking Utah football again. It has felt, I mean, we've been preoccupied with hockey, but hockey's almost over. So now we're going into the real dead zone of zero sports, which is just so sad. So we got to start talking about football again because it's coming quick.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's starting to ramp up. You can feel it. It's cool. It's exciting. It's going to be fun.
Make sure you are following us, you're subscribed, you're liking. Make sure you have the notifications hit so that you get notified when we do go live and have a new episode. And yeah, go Utes. Anything else?
You're the best.
We'll be back soon.
Go Utes.
Function.
Hey, Gary, do the Oilers make it? Do the Oilers win tomorrow? Stretch the series? Quick.
Going 6.
Oh, it's going 6, John. You hear that?
John, go.